is Jacob Mueller, and I'm serving this year as the Indiana FFA State Southern Region Vice President. And for National FFA Week, we're going to start off celebrating with our Director of the State Department of Agriculture, Mr. Ted McKinney. Mr. McKinney, can you tell us a little bit about how and why you became an FFA member?
How and why? Well, it was automatic. I mean, in the 1970s in high school, certainly there were all the activities that come with high school. There was 4-H, nothing like the things today. And if you were from an ag background, there was just no question you were going to pursue FFA. And I wanted to. It wasn't a question whether I did or didn't want to. I wanted to. In fact, I was ready to get to it as soon as possible. So in that sense, it was an easy thing. And then, you know, you just take it and run with it.
All right, we'll give you a little bit tougher question now. What advice would you have to FFA members on how to get the most out of their FFA experience?
How to get the most? Well, I would answer it in two ways. First of all, I believe that FFA offers so much that I always encourage people to be bold. As an example, if they're thinking they can handle one contest, go for two. Don't think twice. Go for two. The payoff will be significant. If if they want to take on a proficiency, do it with zeal and gusto, because the lessons learned from taking it the extra mile, going the extra length, pays off hugely in dividends later. So I think that's how I would answer that question.
Awesome. So you served as an Indiana FFA State Officer, the Northern Region Vice President,
right,
correct?
Right.
So what is one of your fondest memories from your time as a state officer?
Wow, fondest memories. Well, I'll answer it in two ways. On the more meaningful, serious note, it was probably the teamwork that gelled. My teammates and I were very close, and still are today, even though we don't see each other that much face to face. And from that then was the ability to deliver some very meaningful programs. For example, last I checked, I think our team was the first to have a winter conference. That was the day when summer conferences and camps were very predominant. My gosh, we had 6 or 7, and it's flipped, I think, now.
Yeah.
So we were the first to do the winter conference, and it was such a success that it sort of cascaded to what I understand you do today. On the fun side, I'd have to say that our team was the first to have air conditioning in what you now know as the State Officer House. We had a couple rooms in the lodge, and we were so grateful for those 2 window air conditioners. So I would say, in a fun and in a more serious way, those would be the 2.
Fantastic. So my teammates and I and other past state officers always talk about how state office is a process and you're constantly learning.
Yes.
So what would you say the most valuable lesson you learned as a state officer was?
Most valuable lesson? Well, it's a cliche at times, but probably that there's no I in team. And I don't mean to be flip, because there is a lot of I. I mean, we individuals, as you're going through FFA and in life beyond, there's a lot of I to it. We have to take on our own responsibility. But in that sense, just as you're experiencing, you only deliver a quality product if you and the other members of the team are pulling the rope in the same direction and playing off each other's strengths and weaknesses. So I would say the best and most memorable was learning to really gel as a team. And I'll add one more element. It's easy to compliment each other on things done well. It's more difficult to give honest, good, constructive criticism that's not given negatively or taken negatively. And to be able to give good, sound, constructive feedback is a skill that is so valuable.
Sure.
So valuable. So I would say in that mix.
So, as much as we hate to say it, eventually everyone has to hang up the blue jacket.
Yes.
However, we also like to say that FFA doesn't really stop there. You continue using what you have what you've gained. So,
yes.
How do you use the skills you learned as an FFA member and a state officer in your life today?
Oh my gosh. There's not a day, there's not a half a day that goes by that I'm not pulling from some experience or another. I would say predominantly it's speaking in public, and that comes with a public job like I have. But in the days that I was with Elanco leading global corporate affairs, the same thing. You're leading a team, you're speaking, you're communicating. The same went with the various positions at Dow AgriSciences. So the ability to communicate effectively and succinctly publicly is probably the one.
Wake up to the rising sun. Stay up until the job gets done. Giving it all until there's nothing left. Passion, ambition, it starts with the seed. Go all out, 'cause we're grown to lead. Wake up to the rising sun.